Energy goes beyond turning on the lights or keeping your favorite shows streaming. It's what spins the records you love, kickstarts your productive week, and provides opportunity to your local community. Energy is health, connection, progress. It's what makes your possibilities possible. And at Southern Company, we're committed to ensuring your energy is there when you need it most. A commitment we have the privilege to keep. Southern Company, building the future of energy.
Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk. And today we have, we're short one of our...
We are. We miss him.
Hollis Lewis is not in the studio today, but I am Carl Lee. I'm one of the co-hosts, and Lisa Otey. She is in the studio and has actually lined up a great group of people to have on the show. So you take it over.
Thank you. I'm so excited. So tonight, I don't know if you guys have heard a buzz in the air here in Charleston, and it's not the regatta. Regatta's come and gone. This coming Friday, the TBT will be returning to the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. For those of you that don't know in our audience, the TBT is an acronym for the basketball tournament. It's a unique type of single elimination format in basketball. It came into fruition in 2014, and there are approximately 64 teams competing for a $1,000 prize. And tonight we are lucky enough to have two of the head coaches that are affiliated with the Mountain State and Marshall University's alumni team, which has heard that, and Best Virginia, which is going to be later. But I'm going to introduce our first guest, and that is Ot Elmore. Welcome, Ot, to the podcast.
No, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be on.
Oh, so glad to have you. So I'm going to give our audience a little bit of history for you, Ot. So Ot is from Charleston, West Virginia. He is part of basketball royalty, we could say. He's the son of Gay Elmore and brother of John. And he was a former guard at Marshall University from the years 2016 through 2018. He is also now serving as the GM and head coach of TBT tournaments. Heard that. So you want to ask the first question, Carl?
Well,
I can go on. I can just steal the show tonight.
I'm going to let you kind of run it here a little bit. But, my question is, like, when you're sitting and you're thinking about and you're hearing someone, let's say, introduce you, the history of the Elmores in basketball is really an amazing thing. And again, I hate to say this, but it's probably something that has not been talked about enough. But what does that feel like when you hear that introduction and you realize what a legacy that you guys have had?
I'm really just blessed. One person that you all forgot to mention is my grandfather, who was a first-team All-State basketball player at Stonewall Jackson and a scholarship player at West Virginia University, following up with Jerry West. So from my grandfather to my father to me and John, we are just extremely blessed. And, we have a great family legacy. And, we are just fortunate that each of us had the success that we were able to have.
That's awesome. So we're going to go back a little bit in your career, and we're going to look at the year 2014. I know that you and John were enrolled at VMI and both members of their basketball team, and some difficulties happened while you were on that team and in that school. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience at VMI?
Yeah, we are both at VMI. I had redshirted the previous year, waiting for John to come, and we were going to play 4 years together. Unfortunately, the first semester of his freshman year, which would be my redshirt freshman year at this point, my grandfather got very sick, terminally ill, unfortunately. Me and my brother ended up leaving school for that whole semester and coming home, and we lived with him and helped take care of him. One of us spent the night with him every night. So it was a tough decision to leave school, but one that, we look back on, and we're blessed to have spent the time with my grandfather that we did. And ultimately, we both were pretty successful, and I think everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
Well, I'd make the case that when you have to make that type of a decision, which not a lot of people have ever been in that probably position to have to pick family over a sport, and a sport that that you are really good at and is possibly going to bring you a lasting future. I can only compliment you on that type of a decision. And I don't want to ask the question, like, was there any point in time that you were like, hey, where's basketball going to be, when we get done with this, because I'm thinking, obviously, it's a kind of a cold question, but I think there's confidence in there and certainty in there that you guys knew that, you could have that time with your grandfather, and sports will be fine wherever it ends up being. Is that?
Oh, absolutely. You're exactly right. We didn't look at it as we're going to leave school and, this could be over forever. I think we were both fairly confident that, hey, we're going to take a break right now. Yeah. We're going to go home, be with our grandfather. This is something we can come back to. We felt fairly confident that we would be able to come back to it. And in the end, I think I speak for both me and John. We ended up making the right decisions. His path led him to Marshall. My path led me, to a school in Texas and then back to Marshall, and ultimately finished up, making the NCAA tournament at Marshall, and a pretty special experience. So I think everything worked out exactly how it was supposed to.
Do you guys think that, because I do, I think your trip back to Marshall was really the growth in Marshall's basketball?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was. It started with Coach D'Antoni, to be honest with you. He came in, and Marshall for a while didn't recruit very many, local players
right.
for the basketball program. Coach D'Antoni came in, and he started recruiting immediately the West Virginia kids. There was Stevie Brownie from Logan, John, C.J. Burks, Jarrod West, the son of Jarrod West, who you're going to have one here in a little bit, Rondell Watson. And so not only did he start recruiting local kids, which sort of built an excitement for the fans, as you have local kids playing, you're getting more fan support. It turns out we have some pretty good basketball players here in West Virginia, and it was a good combination, to lift that program up from where Coach D'Antoni found it, and it's in a pretty good place now.
Yeah.
All right, so you just touched on this a minute ago, Ot, but let's fast forward to the year 2018 when you and John contributed to that NCAA basketball tournament run. It was the first time the Herd had been dancing since 1987. I remember it. It was amazing. It was so much fun to watch you guys on the court. Tell us a little bit about that experience for you and for the team.
Oh, it was a special run. I remember going down the Conference USA tournament in Frisco, Texas at the Dallas Cowboys practice facility, and we won our first game. And playing at the same time as us was sort of a thorn in our side was Middle Tennessee State, who had beat us in the conference championship the year before.
Yes.
They ended up getting upset. And it was at that point, it was like, oh, wow, this really just opened up for everybody. We were playing our best basketball of the year. We had won the last couple of games of the regular season. In fact, Middle Tennessee was top 25 in the country. We won at their place. So we were on a good little run. We ran through the conference tournament, played Western Kentucky in the championship. Had a big lead. They cut into it, but ultimately we were able to get it done. And then, it was just a special week. And then you go to the NCAA tournament. We got a great first-round matchup that we thought in Wichita State. We're fortunately able to beat them. So it was just a special time and a special thing to be a part of, because that's memories, we'll have forever. And it's just an experience none of us will ever forget.
Okay, and we've talked to different athletes and had different types of conversations around the work ethic that's required to become great. Could you talk about yours you can make the case the family's work ethic in basketball and what kind of time you spent and what all that you did to make sure that you guys were going to be the best that you could possibly be?
We worked all the time, and that was, you asked about leaving school to take care of our grandfather. During the summer while my dad was working and we weren't in school, my grandfather would pick up me and my brother every day and take us down at lunchtime and on the outdoor courts of South Charleston Middle School and put us through an hour-and-a-half workout every day at lunch. And then we'd work out again at night. We'd play one-on-one in the driveway or horse in the driveway. So it just, you got to love it. And then it doesn't feel like work. People talk about you have to have a work ethic, but it's really not grinding it out. It's really just if you love it and enjoy doing it, the more time you spend, the more you'll flourish and it'll show. And we were able to come by it naturally with my dad and my grandpa. So, yeah, we just spent all the time we had in the gym because that's what we like to do. And it ended up paying off for us. That's
good, man. And I've never really thought of it that way. So I'm glad that you said it because we constantly go back and forth with conversations like this because my love for football, like me getting up and running, was not like a punishing thing. It wasn't like I was, or nobody necessarily made me do that. I just wanted to be as good as I possibly can, and I knew that it would take work. And you didn't need that extra motivation.
Right. It's not, people call it the grind, and, I understand that, but you're not really grinding it out. If that's what you like to do,
right.
I'd rather be shooting basketball than, doing anything. So it was just what I enjoyed, and because I enjoyed it, it was that much easier to do it as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. So we're gonna go to the reason we have you on the show now. We had to get that history. I could talk about your past play and the game when you guys ended up playing WVU in the tournament. That was something. That was a thing of beauty. some of the things that happened. But anyway, so we're gonna focus now on the TBT. So in this tournament, you have athletes on teams they're just a diverse group coming from different styles of play, different schools of thought. So, Ot, how do you adopt your coaching style to the TBT format? You've got this mix of former college and professional players. What do you do to make that team gel?
Well, I think the main thing we do is not so much coaching related. Is we bring the guys in, 4 or 5 days in advance. We put them up in a hotel. We practice a couple times a day, and it's not so much practice, but then we do team dinners where guys are bringing their kids, where guys are bringing their wives or girlfriends and just hanging out. And more so than the X's and O's in basketball is, we have our core group of Marshall guys that are like brothers from our time at Marshall,
mm-hmm.
but we sort of adopted these other guys from the TBT team into that little family. And I think that's really our big advantage is guys really like each other. We'll have JP Tokido, who's played at North Carolina. He's played with us the last couple of years. He comes in, he'll be playing with John's girls at dinner, like that's their Uncle JP. So that's sort of the coaching or chemistry that we tried to build. In terms of X's and O's, these guys are pros. We just let them go out there and we play the game and, try to point them in the right direction. But I think that's where our big advantage is the chemistry that we've been able to build with our teams.
I saw something on, I don't know if it was on Facebook or where it was, but there was a conversation or an article about not having a clipboard to draw out your plays. Like you're just kind of writing them down on the floor, and is it that, are you that comfortable in the players that you're coaching that, hey, they're going to get it?
Oh, absolutely. Because, John's our point guard, so he's sort of our coach on the floor. I always trust him to get everybody in the right spot. But that's what we look into when we recruit these guys is, are you good? Are they good guys mainly? Because, they're around everybody's kids, around everybody's girlfriends and families. So if they're good guys, we bring them in. And those are the type of guys you can trust, get stuff done when it starts getting tough. And I know what you're talking about. My grandpa started when he coached my dad. He had a little piece of chalk.
Yeah.
And before they had clipboard, and he would just draw on the sideline a little with his piece of chalk. And so my dad did that with us. And, he always brings his piece of chalk, and that's just how we get it done, nowadays.
That's crazy. That's so good to know. So in this tournament, you've got to maintain team morale. We alluded to earlier, it's a unique type of single elimination. There's a lot of high stakes involved. It's intense. So how do you create besides bringing the guys together? How do you keep the team morale throughout a demanding tournament positive? I mean, how do you create that winning culture in your team?
Well, I think the winning culture was sort of, we talked about it earlier with Marshall, it's just a continuation of Coach D'Antoni. We have guys on the team, although they don't play as much now, Steve Browning, Ryan Taylor, Rondell Watson, are older, all working real jobs now, not playing professionally. Those guys may not play a second all game, but they have good attitudes on the bench. They're over there boosting their teammates up. And that's just something that Coach D'Antoni said is, it's about the team. It's not about you. It's about, it's not about how far you go in the car ride. It's about how much you enjoy it. And you got guys like that who just accept their role in our team first, and that bleeds over to the guys who are playing. If the guys who aren't playing are just there, to make sure everything goes all right or having a good time and having a good attitude, if you're playing and getting time, you can't help but be positive, and that energy is infectious. And we have a bunch of good guys on that team, and we recruit good guys as well, and it just sort of builds on itself. It's a snowball effect.
This is a little bit off that path, but because of what you said, if you were talking to a high school coach, maybe even a college coach who's looking to recruit a player, sometimes I think today the better you are as an athlete, a coach will want you. And they'll even sacrifice some of the downfalls that come with that. If you were to talk to a coach and say, hey, how do you interview a particular player? What do you sit down and what are you looking for? How do you evaluate past their skill set? Because I know a lot of times when I was recruited back in the day, the coaches really didn't. They've already saw what you do as an athlete. Now they want to try to figure out who you are as a person. That process, I think parents today are not aware of that's going to happen. And if your child or athlete can't meet that criteria, like how important do you think that is for you guys on your team, and how critical is it for a kid from high school trying to go to college?
Oh, it's extremely critical. I coached college basketball at Glenville State for a couple of years once I got done at Marshall as the assistant coach. Mm-hmm. And that's something we looked at was, our saying was great kids do great things. So, yes, you can be tremendously talented, but if you're not going to class, if you're getting in trouble, it's going to bleed over and affect the court. And there's a lot of kids that have talent across the country. So that's the thing that differentiates these kids is how good of attitude you have, what kind of person you are, because the good people are the ones that you can count on to get things done when times start getting tough. And so that's what we recruited at Glenville like that. Most colleges do recruit like that. And that's what we sort of do with TBT is you want people that, even if you're going to lose some, you want people you're going to enjoy losing with and aren't going to turn on each other. And I think that's one reason we're so successful in this tournament is even though, it may go against you for a little bit, we have guys that rally together and we always find a way to bounce back.
That's awesome. Okay, so I have a question related to this week's tournament. I know that you're aware that Herd That is in one bracket and you've got Best Virginia in the other bracket, and it's set up that if you both teams, respectively win their games, you would face each other on Sunday, which in the state of West Virginia is kind of viewed as a rivalry game. Do you guys feel that kind of vibe that it's not just Best Virginia versus Herd That, but it's more like Marshall versus WVU? Do you feed off of that type of energy in the crowd?
Well, yes, we feed off the energy in the crowd because the crowd is amazing. People just love basketball. They come out. But we've, personally, we play up to it. But we think that rivalry is a little, overblown because in the summers, we know those West Virginia guys. They know us. We play pickup together in the summer. We like those guys. I like to think they like us. So, it's not a bad blood rivalry between us. Both sides realize, the schools are the two schools in West Virginia, but, those are good guys on that side, and we get along with them. And I would hope that, next year, if it keeps going forward, they put us a little bit farther in the bracket. Maybe we meet in the championship instead.
Right.
Yeah.
But that energy will be electric at the Civic Center.
For sure. Okay, so we've appreciated your time. We're about to let you go. Is there anything you want to share with our audience, what you're doing now as far as business or anything?
Yeah, I'm an attorney in Charleston, so if anybody needs any legal help, come on down and see me. I have an office in downtown Charleston. But outside of that, I just hope people come out and support. We play at 6 on Friday. Best Virginia plays at 8. Come out, root us both on, and then hopefully come out Sunday and see another heck of a game.
Can't wait to see it. All right. Well, thank you
so much.
All right,
man, we appreciate you being on.
No, thank you all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, injured in a grocery store, or even wrongfully arrested or falsely accused of a crime. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call Attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Let's Talk is proudly presented by Attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Lisa, one of the interesting things about the conversation that we had just here recently, I'm learning more so about athletes that are great. Like if you listen to his conversation, right? Like
right.
you don't even get that, like you don't get the feel like of a person who has some kind of like great history in basketball. It's
right.
like he's just kind of like talking.
Yeah.
And I think that to me, I think is so important. That you don't get, they're not full of themselves, but they know they know how great they have been, but they don't throw it at you.
Right.
It doesn't come across like they're saying that.
The ego and arrogance is out the window, it seems like, when they come on the air with us, which is refreshing.
Yes.
It's not the persona of the athletes, some of the athletes you see on television. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I do feel like he is genuine, and he was very human about telling his experience with his grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the VMI thing. And I think that was just such a dynamic and selfless thing that they did to put their basketball. They could have possibly ruined what they had at VMI, and what they did was they put their career, their future endeavors on hold to care for a loved one. And to me, that just speaks volumes about the kind of character that Ot has.
That and family. And the family.
And the family. Absolutely.
And you would think, to your point, you would think that most people would be like, no, just, he would want you to play. He would want you to play. So go play, And I could see that convincing me to go,
Yeah.
But it was so important for them that there seems to be there was no conversation happening that was going to stop us from, because can you imagine being a coach? Can you imagine being a teammate? Like you need these guys.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what time of year that occurred.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in basketball season, but definitely they weren't there when it began or ended. So
Yes.
Another dynamic that I thought was interesting in our conversation, it's always the same with when you ask players about rivalries. The rivalries don't exist, and you've even said this. The rivalries exist between fans. The players all seem to know each other and get on. And I'll be interested because I would like to present that question to our next guest as well and see what his perspective is. But to the fans that, go to Marshall and go to WVU, when they play each other, it's a big deal. But to the players, they all kind of connect and know each other, and they play hard, but it's not the kind of.
And I think there's also the respect of of that player. So if we're rivals, but I know you,
right?
So.
Don't
I'm
you
going to
think
go.
social media has changed a lot of that?
Oh, I think social media.
It's not like it used to be.
Yeah,
like they can all connect.
Yes, I think social media has taken away that part, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
But even the friendship that we had Sterling Sharp on not too long ago, and the Viking Packer rival is still there. Yeah, it's constant.
Right.
You being a Packer fan, we joke back and forth about it, but
then Dante Culpepper, when you told him, was like, that's okay.
Yeah,
So I guess it's just the whole attitude of the player the player.
Do you guys think that maybe especially I think back to like 90s TV? Do you think that media has had a play in sort of creating this almost larger-than-life persona for a lot of these players? Because I'm with you, Carl. I think as we've had these different folks on your podcast every week, it seems like humble is the best description for so many of these guys. Yeah. And I think there's maybe this kind of disconnect from a fan perspective of thinking, well, they're a professional athlete or they've done whatever, so they're this larger-than-life person, and we forget that they're all still human at the end of the day.
Yes, and I think the other piece to that we need to consider is when you're on the field, you are that player. Right. You are everything and anything that somebody has said great about you. You're trying to confirm that.
To live up to it.
But as soon as you walk off, take your helmet off, take your cleats off.
It's work.
It was work. I'm off work.
Yeah, right, right.
I'm off work. So,
not
hey,
that
Lisa, how you doing?
It. Yeah. It's not that you don't love it. It's just that's what you do. And then when you leave, it's just like when you're at work or doing anything in life, you have different personalities and different faces for different audiences.
Yeah. See, and I think excuse me, I'm sorry.
No,
but I was going to say, where I think it is hard for athletes to figure that out is when they're young, like a high school athlete that's really good. He or she, a lot of times, it's all about me.
Right.
And I think that, they don't know that yet.
Yeah,
and at some point in time, you have to get to, and I think when you get into a pro locker room, you have to realize that every single person in that room is great.
Right.
And you're just part of the greatness that we can achieve together, because I can't.
Teamwork.
Yeah, it's the teamwork thing. I can't do this thing out here. I can cover a guy all day long. But if they throw somewhere else and score a touchdown and we lose, what good was it for me to think, hey, Lisa, I covered my guy. What happened to the guy on the other side?
Absolutely.
And I really do. I can appreciate, that understanding and that humbleness that comes with that, and you can feel it. You can just absolutely
you can't fake
feel
that.
No, you cannot.
You can't fake being humble and human, like you said, Matt. I mean, it's just something that I've been pleasantly surprised with a lot of our guests. I'm glad we brought that up, because it's been like you expect something maybe a little more. And to Matt's point, what you see on media is a whole different picture of them painted compared to when they're in person.
Well, I think we forget too. I mean, there's still 24 hours in a day. There are 16, 17 NFL football games a year. Well, what are you doing for the rest of that 365? I mean, even when you were in the league, Carl, you probably still went home and had to occasionally do the dishes or laundry.
Not Carl.
And,
I'm sure Donna never asked him to do that.
I washed clothes this morning. Before
I
came through a show.
It's a silly thing to think about, but I mean, it's regardless of what you do day in and day out, as you said, as your job.
Yeah,
we're all still doing a lot of the same day-to-day stuff, regardless of whether you're going to an NFL stadium to clock in for the day, or you're here recording at the radio station, or working down the street at the coffee shop.
Yeah, you're doing.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to say it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take another quick break, and we will be right back.
All right, cats and kittens, have you heard? The Quarrier Diner is back. Step into the classic vibe of one of Charleston's most historic restaurants. Don't miss the daily Blue Plate specials. Breakfast served all day, every day, and free parking. With an outdoor patio covered for the summer, an elegant basement bar, and customizable event space, 1022 Quarrier Street offers an experience unlike any other. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit QuarrierDiner.com for all the need to know and relive the good times at the Quarrier Diner.
Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the break, and Miss Otey is going to introduce everyone to our next guest.
Our caravan of TBT coaches tonight. I love it. So our next coach is currently the head coach for the TBT team coming to the Coliseum on Friday, Best Virginia. I'll give you a little history for this prestigious coach. He's a former Mountaineer who played at West Virginia between the years of 1994 and 1998. He averaged 10.6 points per game his senior season. And he is currently a veteran head coach of the Notre Dame high school basketball program. And he returns to lead the Best Virginia team after a break from it. He was their initial coach in 2019. So welcome, Jarrod West, to the podcast.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.
So, Jarrod, this is Carl Lee. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I've heard great things about you.
They're not true.
You're a legend.
Please don't tell him that, Jarrod. Come on.
So I've got one question because I would always get questions, and I've tried. I've taken my turn trying to be a coach and all that kind of stuff. What got you into the coaching realm? What is it, and what makes you love it?
So I never expected to be a coach. When I married my wife, she's from Clarksburg, West Virginia, and I started doing basketball training, which I have a love to do because I love kids. And just happened to train the principal of Notre Dame High School, and she said, "You know what? You would be a great coach." And I said, "Well, I'm kind of old school. I'm old school. I'm big on accountability and discipline and structure, that type of thing." And so I tried it, and to be honest with you, I immediately fell in love with it. It's the closest thing to playing. It is very, very hard, especially for someone who played at a high level, because you see things that you know should happen, but they might not happen that way. So that was my hardest adjustment, but fell in love with it. To be able to mentor kids. To now I've been coaching up that I'm training kids that I've coached. Their kids are coming through. I've been invited to weddings. It is the best thing in the world because you never know how much impact you have on kids. And my mom, when I told her what I was doing, she said, "That's your ministry. That's your way that you can mentor and speak God into people's lives." And so I've taken it and run with it, and I've been blessed to have administration who have allowed me to be me, which is very, very important.
Yep.
If you're in a situation where you can't be yourself, it's miserable. When you have people that back you, that allow you to be yourself, so it's been great for me.
That's good.
That's amazing. So Jarrod, let's go back in the day for a minute. Before we fast forward to the TBT, let's just go back to your playing days in Morgantown. So you were fortunate enough to be a player under the realm of Gail Catlett. What was it like playing for Gail back then?
Oh man, Kitty Cat, we called him. Coach Catlett was he was an interesting guy. He was a great X's and O's guy. If you did what if he called a timeout and he designed the play, if we did it, we normally got a pretty good shot or scored. He was a great guy. Miss Annis, who recently passed, was his lovely wife. She was the nicest woman in the world. she would bring us cookies for every road trip. I mean, she was the best. But Coach Catlett was great, and I tell all the young guys like John and Deshaun when we first started with the TBT, and they got this new practice facility. I tell a story that back in the day before NIL and all that stuff, me and Brent Solheim and Damian Owens, we'd come to the Coliseum and we'd beg and plead and knock on the door, and nobody would let us in. Nowadays, these guys got practice facilities and they got managers that come rebound. I mean, you talk about entitled kids, but anyway, it was great. We my junior year, we should have gone to the NCAA tournament, and we ended up going to the NIT, which was a great experience. But it kind of set our senior class up for a big time run. We had 6 seniors who went to the Sweet 16. I was blessed to make a shot that people still talk about today, and I tell people.
You took my question, Jarrod. I was going to focus just on that play. No, you go ahead, sir. You go ahead. I'm teasing.
I get rolling because
I saw that play.
It was great playing under Coach Catlett.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing that I like is I had a special relationship with the fans. People don't.
Yes, you did.
Understand they don't understand the great fans and the great people of West Virginia. If you would have told me I was going to move from Mississippi and never go home, I would tell you were crazy, because I'd never heard of West Virginia really before I got here. I heard of Major Harris because they just played Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. So for me to be here 25 plus years, it's a lot due to Coach Catlett and him bringing me in and my great senior class that I was with.
When you think back on that during that time, could you foresee yourself being who you are now because of your coach? Because I know when Sonny Randall came into Marshall University and was doing all this yelling and screaming, man, I was like, who is this dude? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this dude ain't going to have no kind of impact on me. But to this day, man, I feel like he is the catalyst of who I am.
That's one of the best questions anybody's ever asked me. And I'm going to give you the PG version because I have an X-rated version, which you probably have also.
Yes.
But to answer your question, if you would have told me my freshman year how things ended up, I would have thought you were crazy. It was not an easy road for me. It was not an easy road.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes, I give it all to God, because it was adversity in life is something that until you face it, you don't know how to deal with it. And I was a big fish coming out of high school, and when I got here, it was rough, and it took me a year or so to deal with it, to kind of handle the adversity. And once I matured, it was the best thing in the world for me, because it made me a better husband, a better father. It taught me that life wasn't easy, and it actually prepared me for my senior year and for that moment. Because as you know, as a college player, I mean, game day is sweet, everything else is rough. It's not as fun and easy as everybody might think it is. So I had to learn some tough skin. And I was blessed to have a good group of guys around me my senior year, and we went to the Sweet 16. And, me and Coach Catlett's relationship was very interesting, up and down, but I can't stress enough how it molded me as a man. How the experiences that I went through with him. Once again, everything wasn't good. Nothing was easy, but it made me understand that, life isn't always fair. You got to continue to work and be diligent in your process. So, but yeah, I would have never thought my freshman and sophomore year that it would end up the way it did.
All right, Lisa, I promise I'm gonna give you a chance to get in.
Man, he always does this to me, Jarrod. I'm telling you.
But to your point, I have a similar story. Like when I go to Minnesota the second year, there's a coach. They bring in this new coach, Les Steckel, And he's talking about he's going to be doing all this kind of stuff. We're going to be working hard. You need to come up to Minnesota because if you don't, you're not going to be able to make it through the all the running tests and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like thinking to myself, man, I was with Sonny Randall. And what I do know is I know how to train. And I can't imagine any of these dudes, I don't care what school you played for, there's no way that you had to run like I had to run at Marshall University.
Oh, please.
And I told him, I said, look, I'm not coming. I'll come with camp because you're not paying this. You know, you're not paying us to come. You're not putting us up.
Right.
I can't do that. So I'll come with the season, but trust me, I'll be ready. And I got there, and it was a shame because I felt like it was harder for me in college than this was.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But I only say that because there are these coaches who you think you want to hate them because you don't like the yelling and the screaming and all of that. But you have no idea of where and when that's going to impact you and save you in the future.
Right.
And that's and
you're exactly right. You're spot on that. You're spot on. It's amazing the life lessons you learn through the adversity, and it molds you. And I hear myself saying a lot of things to my kids and boys and people I train and coach, and I look at it and I smile because I'm like, when you're the one hearing it, you're like, man, this guy's crazy. But it molds you. It molds you. It does. It does. Yes, it does.
So Jarrod, I'm going to go back to that buzzer-beating basket against the Cincinnati Bearcats in the second round of the NCAA tournament in 1998. It propelled your team into the Sweet 16. Walk us through that play. What was going through your head? That last second shot.
Did you know you were going to take the shot? Did you know you were going to get?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was.
He knew.
My dad. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to check.
No. I got big enough shoulders to win it, to live and die with the make or miss. That's how I was raised as a kid. So to be honest with you, what I was thinking about is my sophomore year, we played Georgetown. We were up 18. And end up losing the first Big East game. I made a big turnover late. They end up winning the game. My freshman year, the crowd was about to storm the floor. We was playing UMass. They had Marcus Camby and Lou Rowe, and we were up 15. And national TV game, they were number one team in the country, and we ended up losing that game. So, not helicopter, but he made back-to-back threes, and as soon as that second three went in, I'm thinking those two guys. This is a true story. Those two games flashed through my head as I'm getting the ball from Brian Lewin because I'm thinking this is the last game I might play. And so when I got the ball, one of our transition plays that we ran a lot of simple high screen. I give the credit to Big B because he switched the screen at the last minute. And when I came off the screen, I actually thought I was going to have a clean look at it. And because I was reading his man. Ruben Patterson, a great friend of mine who played NBA for a long time. Ruben saw the screen, and he came from basically the opposite wing. And when I jumped, I didn't know he tipped it until later. But as soon as I jumped, I saw him jump, and so I just reached up and shot the ball as high as I could. And when I released it, I saw it was on line, and I knew it had a chance. And like I said that day, God did the rest.
There were many couches burned that day. You know that, right, Jarrod?
Listen, if I had $1 for every time someone told me the story where they were, I'd be filthy rich.
For sure.
And a great story to go along with that. So my older brother got married that day, and I was supposed to be his best man. And obviously he wasn't expecting we was going to be in the NCAA tournament. So they were in the church, and they were delaying the service. And then back in the day, they didn't have, he was looking at one of those little small, 8x8.
Oh, yeah.
And when I went up to shoot the shot, it fizzed out. And
no.
when it came back, they said they saw Dwayne Lewis carrying me off the floor. So I thought that was a great story.
That is a great story.
Yeah, it was a great story. Great day for the West household.
It was so great. I remember the play. It was awesome. But let's fast forward to the TBT, since that's what we're here to talk about. But taking into account, first of all, if our audience that's not familiar with the TBT, could you kind of give us a one-on-one, just a real basic definition of how the Elam ending works in the TBT?
Yes, I think it's brilliant. And Carl can try to talk to it too. In any sport, thank you. In any sport, there's a time, and so sometimes you can just milk the clock and just play you can barely just, you can let the clock run out, and sometimes you can sneak a win. The Elam ending is beautiful because, they stop the clock and there's no time. You have to actually go score points. You have to create offense. So it's actually, I would love for the NBA it would be interesting if they would ever try to, or college, because how it's late and you get in a situation where you just milk the clock and run 45 seconds off the shot clock or 30 seconds, and you just kind of stall the game out. Whereas in the Elam ending, you have to continue to play basketball. You have to continue to score, and it kind of just it makes it another game in itself.
It sure does.
I love it, and it creates so much drama, and because, like I said, you just can't milk the clock. You have to go score. You got to go make some baskets. You got to, and it makes you become a better coach because you have to.
What's the time frame on that, Jarrod? I didn't mean to interrupt, but what's the time frame? Is that the last how many minutes of the game? Does that take effect?
The last 4 minutes of the game.
Okay.
They stop it, and then I think is it great 7 points or 9 points. I think it's a 7 points or 9 points from wherever the leading.
Sure.
They add 9 points to who's leading.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So Greg, he said if it's 64-58, the winning score will be 73. So then it puts a lot of a lot of strategies involved, but it makes you have to continue to play. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, I'm going to ask I think this will probably maybe be our last question, but
okay.
One of the things that I find interesting in sports now, when I look at it, is it seems different to me. It like I don't know if you have and I think there are coaches who coach teamwork and they can maybe find it there, but typically for me when I look around at sports, there seems to be this individualized focus of me. I'm good. I want to go to college. Yeah. I want to go to the pros. I want to go to high school. I want to be the star at the school. Tell me what you see and how do we is there a way to fix it?
That's a loaded question. Listen,
he asks the hard questions.
And I never really consider myself an old school type guy, but the older I get, I feel like it is hard for me nowadays to even watch sports because it's the level is different. But I was raised, you work hard to get what you get. The entitlement is just it wears me out. It's different. To answer your question, I don't know if we can backtrack it, to be honest with you,
really?
Because with NIL they open up the Wild Wild West, and I mean I just don't know. I don't know if you can. The NCAA has. I don't want to say done a bad job, but they've done it. And this is coming from a former player who, trust me, I would have loved to have a little money.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah.
There has to be a cap. There has to be some type of limitations. I mean, just from a coaching standpoint, you can't coach some of these guys because some of these guys are making more money. Like it's just different. It's different. And if you start a freshman, guess what? He might transfer. If you tell a freshman you sit behind an experienced guy, he might transfer. What do? You danged if you don't, danged if you do. It's just a different day, and that's why you see a lot of older coaches getting out because it goes probably against everything in their DNA of how things are going now. So, that's it's going to take a special group of people that can fix it or rectify it because I don't know. I don't think it will ever get better, to be honest with you.
I don't know how it can, for the simple fact that you've got guys playing college ball that are making more money than some of the guys who are playing professional ball. Right. So I don't even have to have a dream to play professional.
Right.
I'm good once I come out of college. So
why would you leave? Like Hunter Dixon, he played 10 years in college. Why would he leave?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just saw I'm being joking, but like
funny.
Armando and I just saw a kid and signed at Texas Tech 3-year, $5.1 million outside linebacker. And I'm thinking, I mean, that's to your point. He's making more than some undrafted free agents that signed 2 or 3 years in the NFL. Like it's yeah. And the thing that it really frustrates me is it affects the high school kids trying to come out who it really it hit close to home with me when COVID hit. So little Jarrod he was able to get an extra year. He went to Louisville. My son Jaden. So would you rather bring in Jaden, who's a senior in high school, or Jarrod, who's a 5th-year senior? So it affected so many high school kids, and it's just and now they're changing it to where JUCO kids might not lose a year. Which I mean I love that, but I mean what are we doing? You got kids that's gonna be 26, 27 years old still, and guess what?
Right?
Why would I leave if I'm making some money too? So I just don't know what we're thinking. I don't understand the adults in the room that's making those decisions.
Amen.
Right.
It's like what's the worst thing we can do for college sports, and that's what they're doing. And once again, I played college sports and wished I had a little money, but once again, these guys, it's crazy.
Yeah, because this is not a little bit of money. This is life-changing money.
Life-changing money.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go a step bigger. Life-changing money. And I can see the guys who are all league. I'm talking about, and I hate to use the word bums, but like I'm talking about average guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at, and I'm like, this guy's making what? And I'm thinking, this guy averaged 4 points last year. This guy had 15 catches last year. Like, what are we talking? Like, what are we doing? It's baffling.
It's really payoff of potential. It's payoff of potential, really.
Yes. And Michael Jordan said it a long time. You're giving these guys stuff that they haven't earned it. Like the kid for Tennessee, I think he's a pretty good quarterback. Okay, he's young, but like he's turning down. So what are we doing? He's turning down $2 or $3 million because he's going to get $4 million. And then he's like, what are we doing? Like, what is enough is enough. Like, put a cap on it so that these coaches can actually coach. Discipline, hold accountable.
Right.
It's just the wild. It's the wild west, and it's sad because yes, it was slightly broken, but it wasn't as broke as we made it.
True.
Right.
True.
Coach, this is producer Matt. Thinking about kind of this NIL stuff and sort of going back to the TBT. Do you think that something like the TBT tournament? Do you think that is kind of a sort of a testament to getting back to the roots of sports and sort of why people play the game?
Right. I love it. And that's a great question. And I think the TBT does a great job of, listen, we're going to the park. You go play. You bring your crew. I bring my crew. And we win. That's the type of mentality that it brings. And you win, you advance. You lose, you go home. And if you win 6, you win a prize. So I love it because it makes it like back to childhood. Like we go hoop, and ain't nobody. Jarrod West, nice to meet you. I love the concept of it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, we know you're busy. We'll let you get back to what you're doing, and we appreciate you giving us your time.
Thanks, Jarrod, so much.
I appreciate it.
Okay, man.
Good luck.
Yes, thank you, sweetheart.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lisa.
Yes.
That was good. Okay.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I got to give you the due. You brought him. You got both of them more.
Is he groveling at you?
Please write this down, Matt. Would you please note it somewhere?
I'll tell you what. I'll even
or
record
least,
it.
Yeah, I was going to say video or record it. I want to listen to it over and over.
I'll broadcast it even.
Well, if you're going to do that, I need to change my mind. At least you got to step it up. Those two conversations were really, really important.
Yeah.
And I think too, for parents, for kids who who should listen to this
Yes.
and hear some of this conversation, because I think it's really valuable and important for them to understand some of the things that were said tonight.
And once again, I'll go back to it's a reoccurring theme with our guests.
Yeah.
I mean, we all seem to view these changes. We're all, and like Jarrod said, I think it's because we're all becoming older and our values become different, because when you're younger, things are, your lifestyle's different. Your way of looking at things. The older you get, the more you see that, those older people in our lives trying to give us, instill in us these values, they were right after all, even at the time we thought they weren't.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a testament too that you don't always have to have a big end game for sports. I mean, you may make it to college, you may make it to the pros, you might not, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop playing just because you didn't reach that big dream. Sports is a lifestyle, basically.
Yeah, and I think
perfect.
too, you hear from some of these guys whose careers were great, but ended at a certain point, and get into coaching. And what do? They coach what they were coached, and their discipline and their all of those kinds of things. They know that's what needs to be there in order for you to have any kind of measure of success.
They go back to their grassroots
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been to the TBT, I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a huge basketball fan, it is exciting. It is fun. The Elam ending is amazing. So, if you're in the audience and you're kind of on the fence about it, go check it out. It's really fun.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get out of here tonight, and we will be back again soon.